All right. Hello. It is 8 o'clock in the morning where I am. It might be a different time where you are, and that's okay. We don't require, what's the word? Homogeny? Hegemony? What's the word?
Homogeneity.
We don't require homogeneity here. We require, we do, what would be the opposite of homogeneity? Heterogeneity?
Maybe.
That doesn't sound right.
Polygeneity.
Polygeneity, right?
Or we
We
don't
we
require anything.
we don't require certainty. That's for certain. We just ask people to come and to have an open mind. I had a little epiphany yesterday of what this service is and how I would describe it. I would say it's a group of adults trying to act like grown-ups.
Not me.
Yes, you too. Being an adult doesn't mean not being childlike. It means not being childish.
I could be childish.
Right, right. I'm saying childish is encouraged. Childlike. Wait.
No.
He's uncertain now.
Not the opposite way.
That sounds like a childish thing.
Okay. I'm gonna reel that one back in and say what we are doing is here is we're trying. Oh, and let me show all the people. There's all the people. No, that's just Roz. Oh, come on. I did all this beforehand so I wouldn't have this problem.
Ice
Oh.
Rose.
Well, that might be the
Uncertainty.
best that we have. People wave because that's as good as you're going to get today.
Oh.
People who are on Facebook, I'm going to do that and I'm going to just take a quick look to see that that still works. Okay. So, welcome to Saturday service. Welcome to this gathering. You are welcome here. I ask people to have their microphones unmuted unless they know that there's sound in the background so that they can feel like they can participate, they can join in. We're going to start with our dear intern, Lori, who's up in London, Ontario. And Lori, can you start us out with 3 things you've learned in the past week? And we'll get this going.
I just have to get the right story. There we go. So I have a new counselor, and I learned from a new counselor a good strategy to employ when I have doubts about how I handled myself in the past. He's having me write out all the good things that I did and refer back so that I have something to refer back to when I'm feeling that I might have failed. And if you do this, there's likely a lot of evidence that you were on the right track. So that's been really helpful for me. And I'm still
I love that.
working on it. Yeah.
Lori, do you know the parenting strategy, the 4-to-1 parenting strategy?
No.
There's this idea in parenting that, and it will travel to partnerships as well, that for every one criticism that you make, you have to have 4 neutral or positive moments.
Yeah.
So if I
That
tell
makes-
my son, that you're eating with the wrong fork, that's a correction, and he's far more likely to listen to what I correct him on if there were 4 moments of, "Hey Emmett, I really like your shirt today. Hey Emmett," 4 neutral or positive for every one criticism. And it sounds, and we can do this internally with ourselves. Is we can load to ourselves in our journal, in our minds, we can load into ourselves 4 positive neutral moments for every one criticism or complaint. And it sounds like something that's close to what you're doing. Good work.
Yeah. He asked me if I could think of, I was talking about all the things that I may have done wrong with parenting, and he asked me to make a list, and it's huge. Like, it's massive, and so it made me feel a lot better about things. So
Wonderful, wonderful. What else did you learn last week, Lori?
well, thinking about control over personal situations or the political, And I watched a sermon that made sense, and I've also been reading some other stuff, and I think that all we can do is keep doing our best and fight the good fight that way. Surrendering to a situation is hard, but it's really the only way forward.
Would
And
you say that again?
surrendering to a situation is hard, but really the only way forward.
Anyone like that?
Yeah.
Anyone at the same time that they like that, not like that?
I don't like it.
Right. So,
No.
there's a great quote from Byron Katie: "When you argue with the universe, you lose, but only 100% of the time."
Yeah, exactly. And someone put it to me that I have to remember that I'm not God. Not that I'm trying to be God, but I'm trying to control. By trying to control the world around me, I am there. There are things that are out of my hands, and we can only do what we can in our little corner of the world to help out.
Yeah. That's wonderful, Lori. It sounds like all the things you learned are about being compassionate.
Yeah, compassionate to myself.
Yeah.
And are you ready for the third?
I'm ready.
So it's pretty simple. Boundary setting with people you love is really hard, but it sets you free to re energize and give back to the world in a healthier way.
Oh, would you say that once more in case somebody needs to hear it?
Boundary setting with people you love is really hard, but it sets you free
Uh-huh.
to re energize and give back to the world in a healthier way.
Well, thank you, Lori. Lori, it looks like you got a visitor.
Oh yeah, my son's here.
Mama,
You want to say hi?
take your own advice.
Or take my own advice, he says. Smart aleck, he's a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
funny.
wonderful. It's hard. It is hard, and that's going to bring us. Thank you so much, Lori. That's going to bring us straight into our topic today, which is about being kind to others, and being kind to ourselves. And I'd love if I could to get two people to volunteer answers to the prompt. Hold on, there's a little extra noise. If one of my co-hosty people can find where that noise is coming from,
Got
thank
it.
you, thank you. It's like a little game, and then I try to remember what I was just saying.
You were going to get two people to volunteer
Oh,
to
two people volunteer to tell a story of when a kindness was done for you, and how did it make you feel. I just want two stories, if I may. Two stories of when was a kindness done for you? When was a kindness done for you, and how did that? If it's a story that you feel willing to share, just of a small kindness done to you. Is that? Go ahead, Janet, and then Holly.
Okay, when I was a kid, I was in elementary school. I was very unpopular, let's put it that way. So I was not picked to play at recess or play in the games and stuff. And there were two older teachers who we sat above the they call it playground on the steps, and they taught me how to knit. So I'd have something that I could do during recess.
Wonderful. And that was a simple, small kindness done for you.
And it was wonderful. And then I had my own little business making hairbands and baby booties and selling them to my classmates after that. So
That's good revenge. Thank you, Janet. It's a small comment, a small kindness done to you. And Holly, can you give us a small kindness done to you?
So I don't know if this was a small kindness or actually a big kindness.
It's okay.
I had a manager not my manager, but a manager at the company I work for, offered to help me with practicing my interview for a position I had applied for to get a promotion. And basically, we did, we practiced and everything, and it was great. And I got good feedback from him and all of that stuff. He didn't have to do it, but he took the time to do it. And he said it was because, he wanted us all to feel like we're all in it together. And it really did make me feel that way. And it made me feel like, we were all one company. We didn't have to be in the same department or the same area to help each other. And I
Isn't
thought
that
that,
nice? I love that. I love that. That we don't have to. It's almost instinctual. It's something that we all do as human beings. Is we're wired to help each other. Thank you, Holly. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I've got a teeny one. Back in
Go ahead.
1976, before Pass It On was a big thing in the country, we were visiting Salt Lake City, and we were in the lane that turned into the parking lot at the Mormon Tabernacle. And by the time we got up near the front, there had been a car waiting to make the turn in from the other lane that had been sitting there for a long time. And we let him in front of us. And then when we got to the gate, our 25-cent parking had been paid for.
Right.
And, back then it was such a big gesture and nobody was doing it commonly that really left a lasting impression.
I love it. Thank you, Steve. It was a small kindness done for you in return to a kindness. Wonderful. Al, what do you got?
I was, I guess, what's the best way to describe this? I was talking with a friend and expressing some concerns about some of the direction I'm taking in recent times. And that friend connected me with another friend of his on the topic of ethical investing. And the other friend, this mutual acquaintance, we connected and had like an hour-long conversation about ethical investing and our mutual interest in that and some different ideas. And there's like multiple levels of kindness to the story. There's the original introduction, and then there's the person taking an hour out of his day, out of his life to help educate me about some things that he knew something about that I didn't know that much about.
Wonderful.
So that was a pretty wonderful kindness.
Yeah, I got the socks and the stuffed
Lovely.
animal. And she's like, I did too. But then she
Thank you. Go ahead, Derek, and then I see you, Jack.
Yeah, this is actually a long time ago, probably 30 years ago. I was in my 30s and I'm 79 now. But I got myself into a huge financial hole and didn't see any way I was going to get out of it. And a close friend of mine showed up at my place and gave me a check for $10,000
Oh, wow.
and said, here you go. If you can pay it back sometime, great. If not, it's yours.
Wow.
Amazing, amazing gift. And by the way, he just happened to be Jewish, but that's got nothing to do with it.
Okay.
Amazing gift.
Thank you for sharing about that, Derek. Go ahead, Jack. And then
Yeah,
Roz,
I
I
can.
see you.
This small kindness stays with me even today, and it happened when I was 4 in 1941. The owner of the building that we were living in, who was German, I was sitting outside on the stoop, came down, sat down next to me on the stoop, and helped me learn how to tie my shoes.
That's a beautiful story. Little simple kindness. Thank you, Jack. Roz? Roz, you're on mute, though.
Just saying good morning to everybody. I'm very grateful to be here today. Thank you. Mine happened this week. I wasn't feeling well. My husband is quite ill with a neurological disease. My daughter, who lives here, couldn't help me, and I had to get to urgent care, but I was in too much pain to drive. And my daughter called her partner, who lived like 40 minutes away, who'd been offering to help. And she said, "Can you come here and drive my mother to urgent care? She's really in pain." And
Mm,
he dropped everything and came
Oh,
and took me there. And it's just like the best thing that happened to me all week.
I love it. I love it. Isn't it? It's amazing how these kindnesses stay with us. I have a different question, and I don't know that I had a hard time coming up with answers myself when I was thinking about this. So, was there ever a time when somebody was unkind to you and you deserved it? Or was there a time where someone was unkind to you where the unkind act was better, was a superior choice for them to have made than a kind act? I'm looking for examples of when not being kind was better than being kind. Now, I know I have moments where I can say I was unkind and they deserved it. But I'm wondering if any of us can put it in from there was a moment where unkindness was done to me and gosh, I'd sign up for that again.
My wife's that way to me all the time.
Kind, unkind to you, and you would choose the unkindness, or you would rather to choose kindness?
It's very kind of her. She
It's fair.
straightens me out all the time since my stroke.
I
mm.
see. I
Probably
see.
before that too, but I don't remember.
Fair enough. Fair enough, Rob. Go ahead, Alex.
So, when I was in school, I wanted to be a sign language major, and I actually went to Cal State Northridge for a semester, but I just really didn't like LA. And some of my professors, basically told me that if I wanted to be an interpreter, I couldn't have deaf friends. That was kind of the thing in the 80s. And so I dropped out of the program and came and worked for a while and ultimately decided to go back to school. And my dad was pretty harsh with me. And, he said, if you think that, if you want any help from us, you can't major in some useless subject like sign language interpreting, and what he said was pretty cruel, and it really hurt my feelings. But what he said is, I want you to major in something like engineering or computer science or mathematics, something that's useful. And I ended up majoring in computer information systems, which has given me a career that has, put bread on my table ever since. And so my dad was pretty mean, and it hurt my feelings, and it made me
Yeah.
feel really crappy, but
Okay.
I'm glad he did it.
Okay. Well, I should have thank you for sharing that, Alex. I I, I should have known that there was going to be in a group of however many people we would come up with an answer. But I think the pause that most of us had believe underlies my point. That most of the time the kind thing is the better option to make. And I have a quote from Aesop who said, "No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted." And here's a quote that was on the announcement going out about the service. "Kindness is more important than wisdom, and the recognition of this is the beginning of wisdom." Kindness is more important than wisdom. I don't
Yeah.
think there are often times where kindness is not warranted. And I think that might be the moral of the story today. Be kind. Always be kind. Or always try to be kind. And when we fuck up and we weren't kind, go back and try to repair. Go ahead, Lori.
I was thinking about your question, and I realized that people have checked me up from time to time, and it's been a good thing. But probably if it was done with kindness, it would be better, because I can't imagine the number of times that I've gotten defensive when people have been nasty, and then you don't hear, even if it's good advice, you don't hear it because you're defensive, right?
Right. Right. Go ahead, Ron.
It just strikes me that there are times people have deliberately been unkind or have been deliberately cruel, and it they have not intended anything kind out of it, and yet it the results were beneficial for me in the long run. But I can think of a couple, but I don't want to share them.
Okay, I appreciate that. I think if we're given the choice, we could agree to to react with kindness. I have some quotes that I'm trying to find the right one. Pardon me. Oh, here's somewhat related. This might or might not work. We'll find out. And please hold. There we go. 3. The Viktor Frankl quote: "Forces beyond your control can take away everything you possess except for one thing: your freedom to choose how you will respond to the situation." Forces beyond your control can take away everything you possess except one thing: your freedom to choose how you will respond in the situation. Is it true that we always have the choice to be kind?
Of course.
But
Well,
Go ahead, Meg.
sometimes we need that space that you talk about with your two people.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen a puppet show recently, there's the action that happens and then there's our reaction to it. And often they're like this. Something happens and we react. And this was the idea Viktor Frankl's talking about, is that something happens and we can learn to build more space between the stimulus and the response. And we can have more space between it. The more space between it, I think the better chance we have of being kind.
I'm being kind to myself when I walk away.
That perfect.
That can be.
How many of you, show of hands, find on a regular basis that you're able to be kind to others? You know how to be kind to others, but doing it for yourself is a little bit harder. There's a smattering of hands going up. Somebody, anyone who hasn't yet spoken, care to speak about that? Because I know sometimes I would see myself being kind to someone and get mad at myself. Like, how dare I be kind to them in a way that I can't figure out how to do that for myself? I see a few people nodding along, but I don't see people. Anyone wanna? And we have some people putting answers, comments up in chats.
Just beating yourself up about it is being unkind to yourself.
To beat your right, that's something Larry says. Larry says that when we do something wrong, that's enough. Kicking our own ass about having done it is one extra axe kicking we don't need.
Greg is raising his hand there.
Go ahead. Thank you so much. I don't see Greg, but go ahead, Greg. Oh, there you are. Hi, Greg.
Yeah. Going back to the acts of kindness, what I wanted to share was how much this person may have affected all the others around. I went to the car wash, and when I got up to the desk to pay, I realized I forgot my wallet. And within, I was about to stop the car from getting washed, and a young gal came up and says, "I'll take care of that." And I says, "Well, just let me know your address so I can send you a check." And she says, "Oh no, no, this is on me." And what I'm
Oh,
hoping, she came out of a long line of people waiting for their car, and everybody saw this and heard this. And I'm just hoping that this had an effect on everybody there, that they in turn would do an act of kindness like this, which I certainly will do. And if that situation presents itself, that was a eye opener for me.
thank you for
Sure.
sharing that heartwarming story, Greg. It's beautiful. Go ahead, Crystal.
You're welcome.
My network is down, so I'm using my phone. So hopefully it's working right. I work with students, and I see this negative self talk all the time. I do include myself in that, and so I spend a lot of time with students thinking about how they're treating themselves internally, and how that if we start beating ourselves out, how we express it externally to other
Mm-hmm.
people, and how that negatively affects ourselves. And so I think that, well, I know that a lot more people between children and adults are experiencing negative self-talk more than they even maybe even realize. And I think when I talk about this, I'm working with sixth graders right now. They're I think they become surprised at the amount of times they have this negative self-talk and how much it limits their ability to learn. Talking yourself negatively, you lose sight of hope. And
Yeah.
there's a professor that I happened to interact with a long time ago in Texas, and a teacher was asking why it wasn't sticking. I worked in a school, it was 98% free and reduced lunch, very diverse, very traumatic area of near a military base. And the professor just looked at it and said, "It's because they don't have hope for themselves." That's always stuck with me. That
Mm.
is the key, the guiding key is if somebody doesn't, if they don't have hope, they can't pick themselves up and then believe in themselves. So they have nothing better to do than turn inward. And then I think I reflect on my life, because my life has been extremely traumatic, and I'm basically the only one that made it out. And I feel like for some reason I always had hope for myself, even though I beat myself up all the time. But it was that little glimmer of hope that helped me pick myself up and dust myself off and keep going. And now that I'm an adult and I've seen counselors, and I think about this often. I've noticed a pattern that I have with myself. And so I've been working the last few years to stop this default nature of beating myself up.
I
And
love it.
going back to writing something good about yourself, I'm a veteran. So my school asked me for Veterans Day to write about myself in the military. And I've always had this negative narrative about myself in the military, due to various reasons. But however, when I wrote all my achievements down and all the things that I did, and I actually really looked at it and read it over, I was shocked. Like I
Isn't that
didn't
beautiful?
even recognize that person, because I always thought lesser of myself. I just thought I was basic,
Well,
and
I'm
I was
I'm
like,
glad
wow,
glad you're
I
learning
was pretty
otherwise.
freaking amazing at such a young age, and I didn't even realize it. Why was I beating myself up this whole time? Why didn't I just like write it down and see myself for that?
I love that. Oh, we lost your audio there, Crystal, but thank you.
Oh, okay. I probably hit the button. Yeah. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on, our negative self
Being
talk.
So let's do a thing. We haven't done this for a little bit. Thank you, Crystal, for sharing all of yourself. It's the opposite of negative self talk. It's time for humble brag time. Is there something that happened for you in the last week? And folks, and I'll get to you in a second, Maria. Um, this is a place for us to practice this. We don't, right? This is a virtual community, but it's a very real community. And I'm going to ask you, beg of you, that if you hear that you have more negative self talk than you'd like, to try to find something that you can be proud of and then to share it with this group. If you can practice doing that, this is why this playground is open. This playground is open for you to practice a humble brag, something that you did that you're proud of, and just to see what it's like. Go ahead, Maria, with all that fanfare and extra pressure.
So, Mom and I had to set some hard boundaries last year with a family, with a couple that we know. Um, and it didn't go well. Didn't go well, and it basically ended the relationship. But we were at an artisan market yesterday, and it was likely we were going to see them. It was likely that we were going to see them, and I had decided if I see them that I'm just going to be kind and say hello, sort of thing. And as we were walking down the hall, I saw them, and they had seen Mom, they hadn't seen me, and they turned away and left, went out the doors. And Mom and I kept going, and we were going to woodworking, all the people who do were woodworking because Mom loves that. And when we got there, we discovered that their kids had a woodworking booth. And the kids didn't do anything. So we immediately went over and said hello and talked to them and caught up with them. And it didn't seem awkward at all with the kids. And we had a fabulous discussion with them, sort of
I
thing.
love
And they're
it.
doing beautiful stuff, by the way. So
Thank you for sharing, Maria. A lovely, humble brag on doing the right thing, no matter if the other people are doing it or not. And here, I did bring this quote in. This is from Pirkei Avot, which is a wisdom section of the Talmud, and it says, "Uva makom." Yeah, I'm going to read it in Hebrew just so that everyone get be suitably impressed. Uba makom, even in the place she'ein anashim, even in a place where the people are not acting like human beings. Lihishtadel lihiot ish. Even in a place where people are not acting like mensches, people are not acting like humans, it is still incumbent upon you to be a human. Even in a place where there are no men, strive to be a man. This translation's not exactly strong enough, but even if other people aren't being kind, be kind. Even if other people aren't acknowledging you, acknowledge them. Thank you, Maria. Roz, go ahead. What do you got?
Yes, so this has been just a challenging week. What with Donald Trump, my husband has PSP, degenerative neurological disease. It's getting worse and worse. He needs help for almost everything. And to top it off, my daughter was diagnosed with a rekindling of her cancer that she had a few years ago. So I was really on the verge of like I would say like a breakdown, but I couldn't. I said I had to be strong. I had to be strong. And I remembered a writing exercise I had done in a class at some point. We had to write a list of what you have done to survive things in your life. And so I got out a paper and my pen, and I just wrote 2 pages of all the things I have done through various crises. That really did make me feel like, okay, Roz, you can hang in there and manage this and just get through it. So, and then I saw your class today, and I said, oh, I came here once or twice a few years ago. I said, oh, this is just what I need. So I'm
Good.
so grateful to be here to get a little more nourishment to carry on. Thank you.
And Roz, I'm going to add to your humble brag of sharing yourself.
Oh,
That's something to be proud of.
oh, thank you.
It's so um, unintuitive for so many of us for so long.
Well,
So
can I just say something that sometimes I do share very readily, but sometimes I think is something wrong with me that I'm it's like the TMI, too much information. I don't know.
Roz, do me a favor. Look at all the faces of the people who are here.
Oh, yeah.
Any
Okay.
any of them look like they're shunning you?
No, I don't think so. Thank you.
No.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi.
It's amazing. It's hard to take in. It is hard to take in. Well, when we're not used to it, it's hard to take in all the love. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you for sharing, Roz. Thank everyone for
Thank you.
being here and
Thank you,
being.
Rabbi Brian.
You're welcome. Al, humble brag time. What do you got?
Yeah, my humble brag is a radical act of self-care. I've been wrestling with this for a couple of months now, and this past week came to the decision that I'm retiring early.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Excellent.
Radical
Do not
Yeah,
act of
regret it.
self-care. Good job, Al.
yeah, and I can't tell you how many voices are inside my head saying, no, you shouldn't. You should keep being productive. You should do this. You should do that. What are you giving up? What should you be doing that is
Yeah.
in somebody else's service and all these sorts of things? But I think it's the right thing to do, and
Good.
it feels right. The rest of me feels that it's right, and
Good.
it's
It's
definitely good
wonderful.
self-care.
Never regret it.
Wonderful. Everyone else for self-care, even if you're not up to retiring, just being kind to yourself. Radical act that we can do. Good work. I'm going to do a humble self. You know, one of the things I love about myself is my humility. It's just wonderful.
It is so great.
um, so here's something that my non-humble brag is. I've sent out over 200 copies of the paperback has come. The hardcover's coming, hopefully this week, and those can start shipping. But I'm very, very proud of this book, and it's I don't know if anyone else has this issue, but I get really, really proud of it, and it's like the half-life of my pride is really short, and then I'm like, well, why did I write this? Nobody really cares. This isn't important, and it just that voice comes up so quickly after. So I'm going to say, bad other voice. I'm not listening to you. I'm going to just be proud of what I've written. There are a lot of people who enjoy it, and I'll take that. Okay. Anyone else on a humble brag time?
Okay, well, I'm proud that I just gave a copy of your book to one of my best friends for her birthday.
Wonderful. The Religion Outside the Box, Rabbi Brian's highly unorthodox gospel, also makes a really wonderful gift. Thank you, Betsy. This was not a paid endorsement. I appreciate you. Thank you. Anyone else? A humble brag. A humble brag. I'll get to you in a second,
Yeah.
Janet. I'm looking to see if I got anyone who hasn't yet shared. I do have an entire sheet mainly filled with stickers, and you can get a shiny rainbow star sticker if it's your first share. But go ahead, Janet, and then Meg.
Yesterday, I frequently drive by this park, this beach park where my sister was killed 32 years ago. And I drive by and think I should stop. I know, but I don't. I especially don't go by myself. But yesterday, the traffic was stopped right before the exit on the highway. And so I pulled off and I could have gone the other way, which is the back way home. Instead, I drove up to the beach. I did not go to the part of the beach. It's in sections where she was killed, but I went to another part and just sat in the car in the parking lot and looked
Good
at the
for you,
seagulls
Janet.
and watched the tree, the birds in the trees, and just she was there for a nature walk. Met up with the wrong person. But
Yikes.
so I wanted to go there and experience the nature part that she would have appreciated. I did.
Wonderful, wonderful. Meg, go ahead. Thank you, Janet.
I was in a support group meeting the other day, and everybody else's people they were taking care of a totally different situation than mine, and I was getting irritated and irritated. And I finally managed to leave politely, telling them that I felt like they could use the time to sort themselves out and work with themselves. And so I got out of there, which was self care for me, without telling them that I was bored to tears.
Well, it sounds like it was kind to you and kind to them at the same time. Double win.
That's what I tried for, yeah.
Good. So I want you all to think about somebody who you would be somewhat delighted to get a text message from, or someone who you would be somewhat delighted to get an email from. You know, those just random ones where the person's just saying hi, or they're sharing something small and you're happy to see that. I'm going to ask you, does everyone have one name in mind? Have a name in mind of someone who you would be somewhat excited to get a text or an email from? I'm going to wait till we get a few hands. Are there a few people? So here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get in touch with them first. You have between now and Thursday to do this. I give Thursday just to make an arbitrary deadline. I'm really hoping you just do this right now while we're doing this all together. Is get in touch. Just say to someone, I was sitting at the Saturday service. You don't have to say any of that, but just reach out, say, I was thinking of you. Because you know how much it feels. You know what that small little kindness of being thought of feels like. Do it for someone else, would you?
Okay.
Thank you, Carolyn, for the audio affirmation. I also like the way that you said it. It's just like, okay, you got me. I'm in. Fair enough. Okay, let's turn our attention to those who need some extra prayers. I'm going to actually add to the screen. Our dear friend Shirley Wayness is having a lot of health issues. She just posted to the Facebook feed. And I just spoke with Shirley yesterday, and I can verify she's having a lot of health issues. But we have a list of people for whom we want to add some prayers and thoughts. And Maria, thank you for being the keeper of that list.
These are the people to whom we are sending light and love. Ken in spirit and Joe, Carolyn, Brandon, Flynn, and Porter, Lauren, Brian, Addie, and Lincoln, and the Ludwig and Applebaum families. Sheridan H., Shirley W., Judy Love and her family, Mish and Payson, Greg, David and Pat Conrad and family, Jerry and Margie, Gwen, Natalie, Christian, Fran, and Ron, Ronnie, Athena, Adam, and Eloise, Frank D., Yuval, Becky, Becca, and Lorena, Lori and family, Arletta, Irene F. in spirit, Bruno S., Francis S., and their families, Colin and Derek, Cullen Raphael, Dominique McClure and daughters, and Tom and Chiquetta in spirit. If there is another person in our community to whom we can offer light and love, please put their name in the chat and I will add them to the list on Facebook. And for the people who aren't named, but who are in our thoughts, we send them light and love as well.
So we'll take a minute of time. Well, thank you. A few announcements. This one's always important. You know what it says.
Hello.
It's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to be okay.
Thank you.
Life is not easy. And a few weeks ago, we had a follow up to that says, being okay is exhausting.
Yes.
It's okay to be okay. It's okay to have a hard time. I was having a really hard time last week, and I called a friend and I said, I'm feeling a bit despondent. And they said, well, what do you want me to do?
I
And
know it, but I'm
I
on
said,
a Zoom call. Can I pass you to my husband, please? Okay.
thank you. We're having a little extra noise. Um, I called a friend and I said, I'm feeling a bit despondent. They said, what do you want me to do? I, I was like, well, I don't really know, but I was hoping that you could tell me what to do to get out of it. And my friend laughed at me, and said, aren't you the one who tells us the only way out is through? I said, well, no, that was a Robert Frost quote, but it's still true. There's nothing for me to be while I was walking, talking to the friend when I was feeling despondent. There was nothing to be except despondent. It was a fair thing to feel. I was going somewhere with this. Oh, it's okay to be not. It's okay to be okay. It's okay to feel despondent. That's where I was going. It's okay to feel hopeless. If we feel that way for a month, that might be a problem. Oh, and I also said to my friend, I said, I don't like this feeling of feeling despondent. Well, duh. Who wants to feel despondent? But the only thing I could do was to feel despondent because that was what I was feeling. Okay, a few other announcements. The homework that Lori does, coming up with 3 things. It's not just for Lori. Learn in a week. You have until next week to come up with some things that you've learned. This is all for all of us to continue our spiritual religious growth. Find something you've learned, and then next week when we get to our time for humble brags, you can tell us something that you did that you're proud of. Other announcements: as soon as the service is over, we break into small breakout rooms if you want to continue a conversation. We will try a new room today, which is called The Last Ones to Leave, Please Turn Out the Lights. Might be a very long name, but if your group has ended and you don't want to jump back into the main sharing care group and you want to see, put yourself into the last one to leave, please turn out the lights group, and we'll see how that goes. We've never tried that before, so good luck to all of us. I'll tell you a story. Anyone, am I missing any announcements? Is there anything that... Okay, I want to share. I have 2 things. Go ahead, Maria.
Do you want just the contact list? Do you want the link
Oh,
to that?
yeah. If you would like to, if you, in exchange for your email address and phone number, if you would like the email address and phone number of other people in this room, in this virtual room, there's a link in the chat. Please follow that link, fill out the form. If you've already filled out that form, no need to do it again. You know you're on that contact list. But you have access to email to be able to be in touch with people. And folks, it's really as easy as being a 5-year-old walking up to someone in the playground and say, hi, my name is, you insert your name. Do you want to play? Everyone who's on that contact list is on that contact list because they want to be contacted. They want to feel connected. Connect with them. You have to make what will feel like the first move, but just reach out. Okay. I just want to show the Wednesday group. We're not going to go to this new topic right now. I'm going to just be proud of myself for dropping this new topic, and we're going to... But I'm so excited about it, but next week we'll get to that one. Here's a quote I want to share and leave you, I want you to have. It's a quote from Robert Brault. Robert Brault said, "Yesterday I bent the truth to be kind, and I have no regrets, for I am far more certain of what is kind than what is true."
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday I bent the truth. Hey, do you like my sweater? Yeah. Yesterday I bent the truth to be kind, and I have no regrets, for I am far more certain of what is kind than what is true.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Okay. We don't have to
I,
always.
I support that all the time, Brian, and I found out that it's basically true for every interaction. If somebody puts you in a pickle, it's better to bend the truth than to make them mad or start a standoff. And I learned that a long time ago, and I'll swear to it that it's the gospel truth.
Always be kind. So thank you for the testimony, Brother Harold. Um, here's a quote that follows up on this. Henry James. Oh wait, I was going to do a little introduction to it first, and then I'll give you the quote. My father was dying over a year and a half. It was a long period of time. It was and I wanted to repair as best I can my relationship with him. And my dad, born in 1932, was one of these men who never used he would never put the three words together, I love you. That was not something he was capable of doing. He was born in a different time. He had his own baggage. It was just not words that he could string together. He could say, "'Cause I love you." That he could do. But he couldn't say, "I love you." It's fine, whatever. It's semantics. But he's laying in a hospital bed, and I say to him, "Dad, I have three things I want to tell you. First, I love you. Second, I love you. And third, I love you." And from that time, became a shorthand. And I would say, "Dad, I have three things I want to tell you." And I would repeat the three things. And then I would just have to say, "Dad, I have three things I want to tell you." And my dad, at one point, later on, he says to me, "Brian."
Oh.
That was the best he could do, right?
Mm.
The best he could do. But it was, of course, enough. The following quote.
That ability, that was great.
I didn't hear the first part of your words, Holly.
I said you gave him that ability.
I gave him that. I gave him the sign language to be able to say just that.
And that
Henry,
was what was true to him.
Yeah. Henry James, author at the turn of the last century, he wrote the following. Three things in human life are important. The first is to be kind, the second is to be kind, and the third is to be kind. There are three things in human life that are important. Okay, I wasn't planning on giving a quiz. You didn't know there was going to be a quiz. But I'm going to start the following sentence and see if you can fill it in. Henry James said three things in human life are important. The first?
Be kind.
Kind.
That's good. Not all of you got that one. Let's see how you do on the second one. The second?
Be kind.
Be kind.
Be kind.
Good. And let's not hear all from the same voices. But does anyone remember? I know I only did it quickly, and you didn't know there was going to be a quiz. Henry James said there are three things in human life are important. The first we got, to be kind. The second we got, to be kind. And the third?
Be kind.
Always. Always.
Be kind.
Sorry.
Ditto.
Yesterday I bent the truth to be kind, and I have no regrets, for I am far more certain as to what is kind than what is true. I'm going to ask all of you as a little charge to go out and stop being right. Stop seeking what's true. I don't care. I want you to do something even better than that. And I want you to do it to yourself as well. I'm pretty sure that most of you are thinking, I'm going to go out and be kind to everyone who I see today. Take a moment. Find yourself on the screen. Do you see your own image? You don't have to tell anyone you're looking at yourself. That's fine. Just look at yourself. Can you be kind to you this week too?
I think so.
Oh, I see a few people nodding. That's great. Yeah. I wish I understood why it was that this was hard to do. I don't know. I just know that it is. And so I guess what I'm trying to say by that is if you find it's hard to do, you're not alone. Harold, go ahead. Preach us on.
I was going to make kind of a commercial for Steve Hartman on CBS. He and his kids run a program once a week called Kindness 101. And I don't remember, it comes on CBS in the morning show. And they have developed a website with educational materials called kindness101.com. And it's kind of elementary, but to what you just said, you can't start at the top, you got to start at the bottom. And so it might be worth the effort to log on to kindness101.com and practice.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Harold. Folks, we're all going to have plenty of chance to practice this week. You are going to have opportunities to be kind to yourself and others. Seize them up, and I will come back next week. And I'm not above bribery, so little shiny stars for you if you need. All right, take a look at each other on this screen. Some of you, hold. Can I get everyone on the screen again? Oh, there's everyone. There's everyone on the screen. Take a look at everyone on the screen. They're the people who are on Facebook. Let's wave goodbye to all of those people and invite them. They're all welcome to come next week. Thank you for waving.